Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about academic vocabulary and command words. Command words are the words that come up in exam papers and in class that tell you what you need to do. It's important to know what they are so that you answer your question correctly using the right kind of information and vocabulary. Today's word is explain. So what is explaining? Explaining is where you have an event or a fact or a character and they're in a certain way. So it could be a character at the end of the book, or it could be a situation such as World War II, or it could be something that occurs in the natural world such as rainfall, and you have to work back and say how and why that is happening. You do it in an organized way. So what you need to do is you need to refer to a range of evidence, and these could be facts, numerical facts, statistics or dates, or they could be quotes, things people have said or things the author has said in the novel or poem or play. In some cases you will also have opinions and maybe factors that could have contributed but not everyone agrees, and that will particularly come out if you're going for the higher grades at GCSE or if you're going for A-level. You need to organise the evidence, the factors they're called. So factors are the things that contribute to the conclusion. You need to organise them in order of importance. So the very important ones are going to be absolutely essential, and they're often going to be your topic sentences for each paragraph. And then the less important factors might come afterwards. And you need to use connectives to show the cause and effect. This is the most important thing. You can't explain just by writing down all the facts and not linking them together. I'll give you an example. Here is something that needs explaining. Somebody has broken a vase. So in this house, someone has broken a vase. And Mum comes back from work and she says, "Oh no, this vase is broken. You need to explain to me what happened." The first factor is the puppy. Okay, what happened was the puppy knocked over the vase. But that wouldn't be an adequate explanation. It isn't everything that happened. The puppy knocked over the vase. The puppy was very hungry. Well, those two facts don't explain it on their own. But if you say the puppy knocked over the vase because it was running to get its food because it was very hungry, suddenly you're getting into that area of explaining. However, then you're thinking, well, why was it running in such a mad way to get to its food? You might then say, it ran to get to its food as a result of it being hungry. So let's look at that factor. Here's another bit. The sister was meant to feed the puppy. However, she decided to go to the cinema instead. So when you join this all together, you have explain why the vase was broken. The vase was broken by the puppy. That's far too simple. It doesn't fully explain it. The vase was broken by the puppy who was running to get his food. He was far too hungry as a result of my sister's negligence. She was negligent because she went to the cinema with her friends instead of feeding the puppy. As a result of this, he was very, very hungry and ran when he saw some food was in the kitchen, knocking over the vase. So you see, with an explanation, you can't just have one factor. There could be a range, and you would put it in a kind of a chain. The main thing is that the puppy knocked over the vase. But why did it knock it over? Because it was running for the food. Why was it running for the food? Because the sister was meant to have fed it, and she decided to go out to the cinema instead. So you've got all of these factors, and they join together in a sort of timeline around the end result. So when you're explaining, you need to join those factors together with the correct connectives. It might be a good idea to pause this video now and have a look at these. So for cause and effect, Often, these are the connectives that are used. Because, therefore, as a result, due to this, thus, since, and for this reason. If you have these in your mind, you will avoid just repeating because. I just said because. It's the one we use most in speech, but your essay will be very boring if you only use that. So these can all be used interchangeably with because. Now you might want to add more reasons and more evidence. There might be multiple factors. Okay, so for example, Macbeth, his downfall is because he is ambitious and he is easily influenced by his wife. Those are two reasons. So if you want to add more reasons, these are some of the words you can use. Furthermore, moreover, in addition, this is compounded by, and likewise. So these ones are where you're saying why something happened, and these ones are where you're adding more factors, more reasons. Okay, you might want to note these down so that you're not just using because and furthermore over and over again, which we often see when we're marking exam papers. Having that more advanced vocabulary will advantage you. It will be impressive in the exam. Okay, sometimes things get complicated. As I said, particularly when you're looking for the higher grades at GCSE and at A-level, you might want to talk about factors which not everyone agrees on. Yeah, you might want to talk about influences that not everyone agrees on. You can't just say, well, it happened because of this, because it might not. So, here are some sentence starters that I find help people in doing that. So, a popular theory states, however others feel that. So, for example, if I was explaining why Macbeth had his downfall, I might say, a popular theory states that Macbeth fell because of ambition. However, others feel that his weakness when being influenced by his wife and the witches was a greater factor. Yeah? Some believe it to be the case. And then you can go on, however others believe. Or, there are many factors pertaining to this. Okay, so that's making the examiner aware that you know there is more than one reason. Again, if you want to pause these, you can write them down. But the key thing is that as you get further along in your school career, your explanations need to be more in-depth and need to recognize that with a lot of things, there are a range of reasons for them happening. Now, my final tip is that you must be very organized when you explain. Explain answers are never very, very short answers. You can't explain in one sentence. If you look back to that example of the puppy knocking down the vase, it wasn't the whole story. There were reasons and reasons and reasons. So you need to look at the amount of marks that you're getting and the space that you have to write before your exam or your test. Talk to your teacher about typically how many paragraphs you should write and be prepared to write that number of paragraphs. You will have to organize your writing. Now, there are two ways to organize it. One way is in chronological order, in a timeline. So, for example, with the vase getting knocked down, it was quite easy to work backwards from the vase being knocked down by the puppy, to the puppy running for his food, to the sister having forgotten to give him food, to the sister having earlier gone out with her friends to the cinema and she didn't make arrangements for the dog. It's a kind of chronological order. You can also look at the most important factors and then work back to the least important factors. So if you're writing an explanation of Macbeth's downfall, you would start with his murder of the king, because that's what sets everything rolling. Yeah? Then you might go on to some of the other more subtle factors in his personality and so on. So you might go for the really obvious, I'm saying important here, but what I mean is the big, obvious factors, and then go back to the more subtle factors after that. I wouldn't necessarily put in ones that aren't important, but you'd start with the main story and then go for the more minor ideas. It's up to you which one you do. And the only way you'll get good at practicing is, the only way you'll get good at planning is to practice. So you need to decide what to include and plan it. Are you going to do it as a chronological order, or are you going to do it from the most obvious, important headline factors to the less important, subtler, more controversial factors? It's up to you. Okay? For A-level and for higher grades at GCSE, this is the structure which allows you to show the examiner you know which are the headline points and which are the ones that show your more in-depth research. Although for some simpler, shorter questions, this timeline approach really works well. Okay, I hope that has helped explain what to do when you need to explain. If you like this, I'm going to do a range around some other commonly used command words to help you with your revision. Good luck, and please do subscribe for more videos.